We're at the end of an empire right now. It is the end. It's the end of this. This is toilet paper. I'm afraid for the average punter out there, you know. So we're in serious trouble because with the end of the American empire, is China going to take over? I don't know. America is about to crash, as you know. We're in serious trouble. Our debt is at an all-time high. America is now the biggest debtor nation in the world, worse than Japan.
I know, well, let me just ask it straight. Why isn't this taught in schools? Because surely people should know this stuff.
Because school teachers are Marxist. He says the mistake is our schools teach us to work for this, not this. This is God's money. And this here was put by God. This here is to be flushed down the toilet. And that's what they're doing with it. But oh, I made this much this month. Loser.
So do you pay any tax?
No.
None. Robert, is the money system rigged?
You want to get me in trouble, don't you? No, we're at the end of an empire right now. It is the end. It's the end of this. And all empires always come to an end. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, Chinese were the earliest. Chinese were the first guys to use paper.
Right.
So what we're looking at today is the end of the American Empire. So it's a very dangerous time. It's explosive, you know, with Palestine and Gaza. All the stuff that's going on is an end of times. Not biblical, but just an end of an era. And the trouble when this comes to an end, war follows. That's what I'm afraid of. I went to Vietnam twice. I was a pilot in Vietnam, so I saw war. It's not good, obviously. I feel for both Palestinians and the Israelis, but we're in dangerous times.
So if we're seeing the end of fiat currency as we know it, where do you think money moves to?
Good question. This here is a 1964 half dollar. 1964 was the year that this was real silver. But in 1964, the U.S. was now from England, the torch was passed to America. That was 1944, Bretton Woods and all this. And so America was the power. But every empire ends when they debase the currency. So this was 64. I was 17 years old. I remember looking, oh, it's nice, you know. And then one day, I also looked up, and some of the coins looked like this.
And that is?
This is pure gold.
Yeah, 1 ounce.
Okay, but I look it up and go, oh my God, why does this coin have copper on it? And that was the end of the empire. Every empire dies when they violate this, when they change the money. So congratulations on all your success about being a real estate guy, because this was 64, then 71. President Nixon took the dollar off of the gold standard. And the reason you're doing so well today is because the dollar became debt, right? So real estate guys, like my friend Trump and all that, we get rich using debt. Whereas the average person is told to work hard, this is toilet paper, save this, stay out of debt. And they're going broke today. I'm afraid for the average punter out there, you know. So we're in serious trouble because with the end of the American empire, is China going to take over? I don't know.
You actually talk a lot about your Rich Dad advisors.
Right.
So is there such a thing as self-made, or must it be a team?
That's a perfect question. Okay, look, let me show you something here. So this was 1964, that used to be real silver. Now it's fake silver. So then 1971, this was backed by gold and silver. And then Nixon took it off. This became debt. That's one of the most important things, because now it became debt. For me to get rich, I had to use debt. But what do our schools teach us? Stay out of debt. That's how stupid school teachers are. Debt makes guys like you and me rich. And ironically, because we use debt, we don't pay any taxes. You know, taxes are very high here in London, very high in America. But real estate guys like Trump and I, we don't pay taxes legally. Now that makes a lot of the liberal or the conservatives or the, whatever you call them, the greenies and the academic types, angry. Because when Trump was debating Hillary Clinton, that criminal, the Clintons and Obamas, man, what a bunch of crooks they are.
Really?
But all politicians are crooks anyway. Anyway, I'm not getting political here. But Hillary Clinton, she was running against Trump. She says, and you don't even pay taxes. And what does Trump say to her? He means I'm smart. And so the reason I like what you're doing with real estate is you learn to use debt and you pay less taxes to go for this. But what I'm glad I'm doing your program is, once I realized this and this was all changing, the end game wasn't real estate. The end game was gold. So today, this is a U.S. silver buffalo. You can buy this for $30 U.S. I don't know it in pounds. This is 2,200. Okay. So which would you rather have today? Would you rather have this piece of toilet paper? Would you rather have this piece of silver? Or would you rather have gold? The average person wants the paper. This is toilet paper. And that's why people are in trouble today, because America is about to crash, as you know. We're in serious trouble. Our debt is at an all-time high. America is now the biggest debtor nation in the world.
Wow.
Worse than Japan. So Japan has high debt, but the Japanese people are rich because they save. Americans are in debt, the country is in debt, and we have this guy Biden putting us more in debt. The first thing that Biden did when he came to office, I'm an oil guy, I went to school for oil. I drove tankers with Standard Oil. First thing that Biden did was he cut the Keystone pipeline. The pipeline ran from Canada all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. When he cut that pipeline, that was Biden did. Trump loved it. But when Biden cut it, I still sell oil. I'm an oil guy. So I have real estate, oil, all this other stuff. I was selling oil for $30 a barrel when Trump was in office. When Biden came to office, oil went to $130 a barrel. That sent inflation through the roof. It wiped out mom and dad. Today, the spooky thing about the world economy is the gap between rich and poor getting wider, because people are working for this and not this and this here. So the question I ask people, which is a better investment? Gold, silver, or paper?
I know, well, let me just ask it straight. Why isn't this taught in schools? Because surely people should know this stuff.
Because school teachers are Marxist. He says the mistake is our schools teach us to work for this, not this. Think about this, okay? I was flying in Vietnam. I bought my first gold coin. I paid $50 for it. So it was 50 of these for one of these. Today is 2,200 for one of these.
And what has the dollars gone down by?
And mom and daddy are working hard, staying out of debt like frickin' idiots.
Yeah.
But it's best advice for mom and dad. They're the punter, you know, I use the term punter. They have no idea what's going on. They get up, they get a pint, and they're happy. So, but if you're going to be a rich man, or a poor man, a rich man, your end game is gold. This has been money for centuries. This is silver. It's the better investment today. In the US, it takes 35 of these to buy one of these, because debt is money. It happened in 1971. President Nixon took this, separated them. So what became money was a US bond. Now, Dave Ramsey and most of these financial planners down in the City of London, and they recommend buying bonds. Bonds are the worst advice possible.
Why?
They're going crashing. 3 banks went down in a row because their bonds crashed. So please hear what I'm saying is our financial planners, that's what we call them in the States, they're always saying you want 40% stocks, 40% bonds, and 10% gold or something like that. They think bonds are safe. But now that interest rates are going like this, see, when interest rates goes up, the bonds come down. So today, the US Federal Reserve President, Chairman Powell, he's raising interest rates, bonds are coming down, our banks are crashing. When our banks crash, they can't lend this out. And when they can't lend this out, the economy crashes. So the people who will win are people who have gold and silver. And mommy and daddy who are saving this will be wiped out. Because to save the world economy, as you know, the US is going to print trillions of these. You have, what was it name, Tusk or something? She was your prime minister for a short period of time.
Yeah, Liz Truss.
Yeah. When she tried to screw around this, your pensions went down. So mark my words, the old guys like me in UK, America, and most of Europe, we have no pensions.
So did you decide
Well,
to...
let me say it again. We have no pensions.
No pensions?
They're gone.
Gone.
But they don't know it yet.
Right. Most people think inflation is bad because it erodes paper money. But is inflation good if you have good debt?
It's about financial education. It depends on the asset class. Inflation is good for, look at this, okay? The first one I ever bought was in 1972. Paid $50 for it. I still have it. It's in a vault in Switzerland. It cost me 50 of these. Today, that same, if I pulled it all to the vault from Switzerland, it's a South African Krugerrand. If I held it up here, it'd be 2,000 of these for one of these. So meanwhile, mommy and daddy are, save this stuff. Loser. Because our schools want us to do that.
And why do the schools want us to do that?
Because they're Marxists.
And when you say they're Marxists, what do you mean?
They believe that, in America, they're called woke.
They're also called woke here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that woke means that you have white guys like you oppress the colors like me. So they believe that white guys oppressing the poor and all that stuff. That's not true. It's our schools oppress people. So that what they're trying in America now is DIE, diversity, inclusion, equity. But they don't teach us about money. They teach us about what? ESG, environment, social governance. That's Marxism. They're communists. I flew in Vietnam for the US Marine Corps, killing communists. We had to. But they came to our school system they came into America via the school system. Communism entered America in 1930 when teachers from Berlin came to Columbia University in America and started teaching at Columbia University's Teachers College. So Marxism spread across America via academics, my poor dad. So Poor Dad, Rich Dad is a story of a Marxist versus a capitalist. It's a free country, choose what you want to be. I chose capitalist.
You can't leverage gold the same way you can leverage real estate, can you?
Come hear what I have to say.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, is that the question?
Yeah.
You're brilliant, man.
Thank you.
I use real estate as leverage to buy this.
Right.
So what I do is I'll borrow, let's say, $20 million. The cash flow buys this.
Right. So you're using government printed money for your own assets.
To buy this.
And then the income from the assets you convert into gold.
Yes. This is God's money. God put it here. God put this, I'm not religious, but I'm just, okay. And this here was put by God. This here is to be flushed down the toilet. And that's what they're doing with it. But I made this much this month. Loser. Your job is to take this convert to this or convert to this. Not to brag, but I own tons of this.
How much? How
I
much?
own the mines.
You own the mines?
I'm a capitalist.
Right.
I bought the biggest gold mine in America last July. It's in Utah.
So you're literally mining your own gold?
Amen.
Amen.
And in Mongolia, there was a place called the Checkerboard. Little holes in the ground. And these Mongolians with Genghis Khan was around. They were digging for this stuff. So there's something, in my opinion, I'm not religious, but God attracts us to this. And so I was in Fiji for rugby again, and I met this American guru. He was a Hindu. He had gold all over him. So I said, what's this white guy dressed as a Hindu with gold dripping all over him? So I had to ask him a question. I said, why do you have so much of this? He says, because gold is God's attractor. Gold is God's money. He says, the more of this you have, the more wealth it attracts to you. So when they tell you not to save this stuff, you cut your wealth off. This is your connection. I'm going to get my ass for this one, but I'm saying this is your connection between God and wealth. So if I want $1,000 of income, I buy a couple of these, one of these, you know. More gold attracts wealth. That's the that was this, I don't know if it's Hindu, but this American Hindu, he could have been a fake for all I know. He looked good. He had gold all over him. He says, this attracts wealth.
Right.
So I believed him. But I already had that belief anyway. So I just started collecting this. So the question, I'm here in London to teach, everybody can do this. This is 35 bucks. The question is, how do you go from this to a gold mine? That's what an entrepreneur does.
Right.
So once I understood this was the objective, I started going for gold mines.
So you buy more gold mines now than you are real estate?
Amen.
You are?
Oh yeah, the biggest in the world.
Right.
Went public July 8th last year in Toronto, New York Stock Exchange. My first gold mine was in Dalian, China. And we struck gold in China. This is 2004. Guess what the Chinese did?
Tell me.
Nationalized it. They stole it. I don't trust the Chinese communists. You know, that's why they're communists. That's why what Klaus Schwab says, you will own nothing. Someday you'll own nothing, you'll be happy. That's Marxism. That's communism. You will own nothing. So when the Chinese took my gold mine from me, I said, I'm staying out of China. You know, like my books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they pirated the whole thing. They don't pay me anything.
Really?
They steal. Let's say I buy a property. Here's a property, I buy it. I finance it. Then we refinance it, we borrow out the equity. With the refinanced equity, I bought the gold mine.
Right.
And guess what pays for the debt? This. And I still own the gold mine. And that's why I went to tons of gold.
So do you pay any tax?
No.
None. And do you not pay any taxes because you're taking all your income as debt?
No. You have to obey. Taxes are incentives. In other words, if I went down to Goodwill, a church, and the government wants me to donate money to a church. So if I donate this to a church, it's a tax write-off. So taxes are incentives to do what the government wants you to do. So the people that pay the highest taxes are employees and doctors and lawyers. The capitalists don't pay taxes. There was a book I wrote called The Cash Flow Quadrant, ESBI. E's pay 40% in tax, S's pay 60% in tax, B's pay 20%, I's pay 0.
And I's are the investor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inside investor. People who buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds are freaking losers.
Why?
Because you pay tax.
So do you not invest in the stock market at all?
No, I have my stock is there.
Right.
From my company.
Yeah.
But it's tax-free.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur. I am not an employee. I was a stupid kid in school, flunked out so many times. And
Do you think that made you a good entrepreneur?
yeah, I had to.
Had to what? What? Because you had no other choice?
Well, I had to learn how to cheat. No, I'm here with my team right now. My attorneys, my accountants, my debt guys, my bankers. We operate as a team. Schools teach you to take tests on your own, right? I take my tests as a team. So when I was going after that gold mine in Utah, you think I could do it by myself? Even though it was the richest gold mine in the world, I had to go in with a big team. The average punter out there, oh, I can't afford it. But I used the profits from my real estate to raise $2 million to buy the gold mine. The average person, well, I can't afford it. They can afford this. They cannot afford the gold mine.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur can afford the gold mine legally. Please do it. I'm not Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and all that other crypto crap. I have crypto, but I do it honestly.
And have people not been chasing you to try and get some tax from you? You're a very public figure. Do they not come knocking on your door?
That's a very good question. An audit is called an audit. I'm audited every year. Catch me. No, but audits keep you honest.
Yeah.
If I was doing something illegal, like Sam Bankman-Fried or Hillary probably does, Clinton and Obama, and this guy Biden is the worst. He steals this money, God almighty. But anyway, if I'm audited, I'm doing something wrong, I'll pay my tax. I don't want to go to jail and do the hula for some guy,
So, if you had to choose between gold or silver?
How about this?
Oh, no, we're not going to put fiat into the mix.
No, but what I'm asking right now is most people watching today are choosing this.
They're choosing pounds and pence, dollars and cents.
So the average person, even the guy sleeping on the street, can raise how much is $35 in pounds?
Yeah, I think you can get a Tudor Beast coin here for £70, including VAT, which you could claim back if you bought it in the right company. So £50 will get you a good 2-ounce silver coin. I've started to pay my kids for their chores in silver.
Good man.
Yeah.
See, this is God's money. It was not printed. I always say to American audiences, if you can print it, I don't want it. If you can, a stock certificate, I don't want it. Can you print this? I don't want it. It's that simple. This is the saddest thing of all. Rich Dad was my best friend's father, and he had nothing to start, and he built his empire. So if you go to Waikiki Beach today in Hawaii, you look at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, that's their land. They don't own the hotel, they own the land. So he started with nothing. He kept doing what Americans call it 1031, their tax-free exchanges and all this stuff. So his plan was to buy a whole section of Waikiki Beach, and he bought it. So today it belongs to the family. But another rule I've heard is that the first generation makes it. The second generation was my best friend and I. The third generation was his son. Guess what?
Son squandering it?
It's gone. The third generation lost it all.
Because they didn't learn the skills required to build it.
They had a good time. Plus,
Oh, really? Yeah.
bad habits.
Yeah.
You know.
But I often think a lot of money without understanding how it works is a curse. Would you agree?
Yeah. Plus addictions.
Yeah.
You know, homelessness is not homelessness. Homelessness is addiction.
Right.
So they just can't function in society.
Do you think a big recession is coming? Bigger than big?
I think that's why I started this whole thing. It's the end of this. We're at the end of the American empire. The question is it China next?
They say more millionaires are made in recessions. Do you think there's opportunity in the upcoming recession?
Of course, yeah. Hey, I think this thing is 35 bucks today. I think in 2 years, it'll be 100 bucks.
Really?
That means it's going to take today it takes 35 of these to buy one of these. In 2 years, it's going to take 100 of these to buy one of these.
And that could have gone down 15 to 20% with inflation.
That's what I mean. Which would you rather have today? Most people choose that. Sad, isn't it?
And where does Bitcoin fit in all this?
Well, it's the same problem as, fake money all over the world. I own Bitcoin. I was fortunate enough because I took, technical trading is watching market trends. So I studied for 3 years technical trading. I'm not very good at it. I'm a real estate guy, real slow. And so I was watching Bitcoin. It went from nothing to 20,000. I went, wow. Then it retraced back to nothing. And then started coming up, and it picked up momentum. So I bought 60 Bitcoin at 6,000. I stopped. So I'm in the money today.
Do you think it might become a relevant currency?
We'll see. I just know this is God's money. This is God's money. It was put here by God. Bitcoin, is the blockchain technology. Blockchain makes it valuable because it got integrity.
What if the governments create central digital currencies? What are your thoughts on those?
I'd still rather have this and this. I don't know. What I understand, I could be wrong. Our freedom's gone. They can track you by this. Like right now, if I use my credit card, right? They know where I used it. So if you go to CBDC, central bank digital currency.
I mean, that's tracking on another level, isn't it?
That's right.
Is that not 1984 George Orwell? Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying this is the end of the American empire, but we don't know what the next one is.
Do you think we might go back to a gold standard? Like evolution through de-evolution?
We might, but my question is, I don't care what they're doing. I want to know what you're doing. So I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my friends, I say, how much of this have you got? And how much of this have you got? Most people have a lot of this, or debt. I'd rather have this. So the end result of buying property is to get back to this.
Yeah.
And pay no taxes. But one of the best assets you can have is your friend. So my friend and I always swore we'd be rich. And we took courses, we studied, practiced, made mistakes. And we both met at Xerox, we called it Rank Xerox here. We both met at Xerox in 1974. And we just pushed each other along. And today we're multi-billionaires.
So you're a billionaire?
In debt, yes. No, I own several tons of this. What's this worth?
Well, if an ounce is 2,200, someone can do the maths on that.
So I just stopped. This is the question, okay? Everybody can afford this.
So that's a silver coin.
35.
Yeah.
The average guy cannot buy the silver mine. Entrepreneurs buy the mine. And this here is gold. I buy the mine now. That's what entrepreneurs do. So the average person can afford this, but most people choose this. They'll save this, they'll work for this. They hang on to this. They will not trade this for this. That's the problem.
Is this like a game to you? Is this a passion, the investing?
Yeah, it's fun to me. But teaching became my mission, if you know what I mean. I went to military. I'm a rank knocker, went to military school. You have Sandhurst. So I went to military school. Flew for the Marine Corps. We're mission driven. So got plenty of money. Now we teach. But I don't want to invest to lose money. So I like making money. I always died in school. My spirit died. Every time when I talk to these Marxists,
right.
Don't make mistakes, don't do this, memorize this answer.
Yeah.
So I don't want this.
Right.
So I'm going to start my own system outside the system.
Yeah. Well, there's the least amount of friction that way, isn't
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Well, I want to teach those who want to learn. I was in school. I was one of those kids who didn't want to. I was a surfer. I loved surfing,
Yeah.
but so I don't blame the teacher. I just wanted to surf, and then I wanted to learn how to fly. So I went to the best schools to fly. U.S. Navy Flight School.
32 million.
That's counting, yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? 32 million books.
It's humbling. I think the most amazing thing is to go around the world. I meet guys your age now. They say, thank you, the book changed my life. I'm doing this because of this. That's the biggest payoff there is.
Yeah.
Because when I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, every editor in New York said, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I said three things. I said, number one, the rich don't work for money. The rich work to acquire assets. Number two, savers are losers. Look at how much inflation and taxes are killing this thing. And number three, your house is not an asset. So your job as a capitalist is to turn a liability, a house, into an asset. But the average person, they buy a house. What's happening in America today, I'm sure here, as tens of thousands of people are laid off, what's killing them is their house. They can't afford the mortgage. So instead of the house being an asset, the house is a liability.
So do you rent your own home?
No. But I have 15,000 to cover that one.
Right.
No, so the point is, my cars are liabilities. If Uber rented them, it'd be an asset. If it covered all expenses. So it's really defined in the numbers. Rich Dad Poor Dad is only a book on accounting. That's all it is. So for most people, they buy a house. It costs them money. So I paid cash for it. You still have interest. I mean, you still have taxes and you still have upkeep. It's a liability.
So you would invest in an asset to pay for the debt, and then it wouldn't be a liability anymore.
Well, it's like I wanted a Rolls Royce. So my wife says, you can have anything you want, but you first got to buy the asset that pays for the Rolls Royce. So I went out, found an apartment house, and bought the Rolls Royce.
With the income. Yeah. And do you put your cars in a company so you can write them off?
Yeah, that's my chicken shit stuff. I mean, how much does a roller cost here?
For 400 grand, maybe?
Brand new, yeah.
Yeah, so $500,000.
So I don't want to pay for it. So I buy the apartment house first, or the storage units,
Yeah.
and that buys the car.
Right. And would you prefer to get it on a lease rather than own it?
I don't care.
You don't care?
I just don't want to pay for it.
Right.
I want my tenants to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's capitalism.
Yes. What's the best money advice you ever received?
Know an asset from a liability, and don't work for money. This is trash. The definition of wealth is not how much money you have. If you stop working today, let's say you're a husband and wife with 3 kids. If you stop working today, how long can you keep not working? For most people, it's a month, and it's gone. The biggest problem I see happening right now is my generation, the baby boom generation. Our pensions are gone. Wall Street ripped them off. So the people I get the most grief from are like CNBC and all that, because I say, you guys are lying. They're not telling people the truth. Their pensions are empty. You know, my classmates and I my classmates went to fly for United Airlines. Good high-paying job, making like $60,000 a year. It was a lot of money back then. And then they retired. Wall Street took their pensions, but they don't say anything about that. I wrote a book called Who Stole My Pension? You're going to find, this is a prediction, my generation, the boomer generation, were the first ones with what in America called a 401k. In Canada they call RRSPs, 401ks, and I don't know what you call them here in England. They're empty. Wall Street robbed them. They're worse than Sam Bankman-Fried. It's a Ponzi scheme.
And you think owning your own real estate is probably the best replacement, a real pension? Gold and silver.
No, I have tons of it. This one won't make you rich. A ton of it will. So the question is, how do you get from this to a ton? And that's what my rich dad taught me. In fact, that's what I'm in England for today, is that's what I'll be teaching tomorrow. Is how do you go from here to a gold mine? That's entrepreneurship. This is a punter.
What does the word disruptive mean to you?
Innovator. Somebody's going to make a change. Somebody who'll challenge what they've been told. Every time I was told, go to school to get a job, I said, but what if I don't want a job? Or save money. And my rich dad says, don't save money. Until you challenge what you're taught, you're a sheep. You know, and you know what they do to sheep.